the notion for me that is important for this album, just to say, turn the question a little bit around, is that, it's a pretty dark album in some ways. I mean, fall, it's kind of refers to, might refer to fall of man. It might fall, the waterfall. And falling water is some of the most destructing power we have on this planet. Eventually we grind everything up. It's a fall, the change of season and stuff. So it's a different layered title, but my point is that the album is quite dark in many ways, but there is also a very kind of gleam of hope. There is uplifting. There is uplifting feeling to the album, I would think, and I think we also had that on True North, at least from my opinion. That album was very cold and very kind of gray in a sense, but also very kind of uplifting in a sense. And that was something I wanted to bring also into to the new album. So if I boil it down, I think, this album, this new album, Fall, deals very much about everything that fights against the great fall, if you get my point. Everything, the fighting spirit, the will to live, the spark in the dark, and all these things that makes us human beings. Why do we fight? Why do we keep on clinging to life? Why do we, the first song on the album, Summits, is basically about, it's a very classic and overused probably theme in music, but it's a very classic theme about finding yourself and finding your own best potential in a sense. You can, of course, talk about it in many different situations. For somebody, that's being a musician like me, or being a journalist like you, or for some people to live on a mountain by themselves, or, in Alaska, away from everybody. Maybe that's the big thing in life. We all have different, peaks to climb in this life, and it's about this fight. It's about this both the fight on the outside, but also the internal fight, the mental side of it. So it's I guess this album is very much about, the will to survive, the will to fight, the will to be adventurous in a sense. I mean, we also, there is so many things that happened before us, or forefathers, pioneers that, this not discovered, but the Scott and Amundsen, for example, the South Pole, trying to reach the South Pole the first time. At that time, it was more a gimmick thing, or whatever. But it's important for us now to be, now what's going on there. So it's about a lot about those things. And of course, we scope in on the nature. We scope in and on this album, I was very fascinated by this. The outskirts of our lives, in a sense, all these things that protect us from to how holds up our society in a sense. We all know, for example, that if the North Pole melts down, and the South Pole melts down, we have a huge problem in this world. We have a huge problem. We all know that, if the climate changes too much, we all know that that will, things will get fucked up, and our ability to live and in prosperity will be reduced, for example. I'm not going Greenpeace about it, but my point is basically that this fighting spirit, this will to survive, is something that I find very
So
interesting.
if I get what you're saying, this album is a bit about addressing or keep in mind the elephant in the room, what is wrong about there, and also
in some cases, yes, I leave it. Let me say it like this: I leave the door open a little bit. If you want to see it as an thematics about protecting the environment, so be it. Definitely, it is. But we don't go Greenpeace about it.
yeah.
If it is about, like the second song on the album, for example, Nordic Anthem, is a song that actually releasing a video, official video tomorrow, actually, and it's a kind of fighting spirit song that it's against all kinds of what can I say, basically religious thinking. dogmatics and all that sorts of thing. It pushes you to think for yourself, find yourself, be yourself, and those kind of things. It's about this very kind of basic human notions and very classic themes in many ways. But it's maybe even more important now these days than it was when Shakespeare wrote about it, for example.
Yeah, it's a more present and relevant notion these days.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. The danger we are facing in the current times, I mean, the environmental issues, we have war going on in Europe now. There is conflicts, there is, things going on. That is not good. Those are very, very real. I mean, when I was a young kid, I remember we was parading against, nuclear weapons and stuff with my parents when I was a kid and stuff like that. In Norway, the Cold War was very present. So we was very afraid for, nuclear war, for example. But it was just, something we were afraid of. It could happen, but, the risk wasn't that big, to be honest, looking back now. But nowadays, we are facing some threats that is very real.
Yeah.
And this environmental thing is very, very real. And I think, some of the problem for us humans is that we don't run before we see the lion. And that is a big male function among us humans beings, that we don't do that, so that the lion eats us. And maybe some of it is my way of saying that, hey guys, we need to start thinking about stuff.
Did you write the lyrics?
So, many of them, yes. It's not all, but a lot of them, yes.
Because I have one line in mind as you are talking about it, from the song Stars Ablaze, that goes, "We walk our paths, the maps in our blood, fathers and sons in the absence of God." That's a powerful line to me. In the mindset of the record, when it happens. I don't know if you are about to release more singles in the future, but I think so far what you have showed us, it's a good example of what we can expect on the album.
Yeah. It's I basically don't want to go religious about stuff. As I said before, I wanted to keep music beyond religion, politics, and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't matter, because music should be something above that.
But we are humans after all, beyond religions.
And that is basically my point, that sometimes we cannot express ourselves honestly without, in this case, involving this God figure thing. That is a big problem. According to me, I think that is way more dangerous than any nuclear bomb, this God thing that everybody is talking about, I don't believe in that. I'm not religious. I've never been not slightly religious. And I've always been like, what the fuck do people walk around believing in something that, whatever, it's just a hoax, it's a scam. Come on, guys. But I find it still interesting why people do so. I find it interesting, the mechanism. Why is it like this? Why do people in 2024 actually walk around and believing in the Bible, as an example? I think it's crazy. But that being said, I'm fine with it. If people want that, sure, no problem. If they find solitude with that, sure. But the big important thing, in my opinion, and that is something we try to deal with in our lyrics a little bit, that's a mindset of it. Because what I think is more dangerous than any religion, is religious thinking. It's the way of thinking, dogmatics. It's the dogmatics. It's that is really, really, really dangerous. We see that all over the place now. The age of stupidity in USA, for example, with Trump being a president back in the day, and maybe being a president again. What the fuck is that about? How did we come to that point in our existence? And so on and so forth.
The funny part is that you can't talk about it without being labeled as something, you can't discuss these things publicly, seems like.
I totally know that. I know that. And I know. And we try to avoid to talk too much about those stuff, because our music is not really about that. But But I've always had this approach to my music that I, instead of criticizing everything and being, all that being
Preachy.
satanic or that I've tried to project a better way of looking at the world, if you get my point. I've tried to describe the nature, the beauty of nature, the magic of nature. I mean, the nature is way more beautiful and magic than any Bible, any Quran, or anything like that. It's just walk out in the nature, look around, listen to the sounds. It's so magic. That is the true magic of the reality, I would say.